Hello everyone, what is up? It's your mistress, the Queen of Lions here, and today we are doing yet again, I'm going to do welcome to episode 14 of Shadows and Pretties. Now, I did a poll about a week ago saying which one you want me to talk about, which was either Tangled or Snow White, which during my, mini vacation I talked about Tangled. Now today I am going to be talking about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now the Disney film was actually one of the very first Disney movies that ever came out to be really good in 1937. Now it's a very old movie. I can definitely say it's a very old movie, and I'm sure most of us have seen it as a kid. It's based on the German fairy tale version by the Brothers Grimm, which I will get to it. Not really going to talk about too much of that version, but I will be talking about mainly the Disney one. Now, Disney actually wanted to adapt this into a movie, and of course, the development of this started around 1934 and 1934, and of course, it's been, in the works for so long. They finally had the chance to, release it once it was all done. Now, the concept design and all that was actually pretty cool, and the theatrical run, which ran in December 21st of 1937, and it was a big success, actually. They had a lot of great, concept to it. Now, you probably have seen, Snow White and the Evil Queen and all the characters from Snow White, in other movies and stuff like that. So you probably have seen it. And of course, we know there's a Broadway performance of this right there. So, anyways, I'm gonna go on with the Disney film. This tells a tale about a character named Snow White who's a very popular character back when when it came out. So, with that being said, I'm gonna quote unquote this, is that Snow White is basically a lonely princess who lives alone with her stepmother, Van Queen, the evil queen, and of course she worries that Snow White will be the more beautiful than her. So, of course, she forces Snow White to work as a maid and asks the magic mirror Darely, who is the fairest of them all. For years, the mirror always says that the Snow White is, but of course, the mirror says that the queen is to please her. Now, basically, the evil stepmother. I don't get it why stepmothers are always evil and mean in these movies. I don't know why Disney like to do that. Well, I understand, it's a fairy tale and all that, but I don't understand, not all stepmothers are nice. I'm gonna be honest, it's not always the case, but there are some individuals with this that really do like it. Of course, we have Snow White, who basically informs being the queen that she's the fairest of the land. On that same day, Snow White eventually meets and falls in love with the prince, who of course overhears their singing. So of course, yep, I'm gonna say this is when Disney had taken some dark turns. So the jealous queen orders a huntsman to take Snow White into the forest and kill her. And she further demands that the huntsman to return with Snow White's heart in a jeweled box as proof of the deed. However, the huntsman cannot bring himself to kill Snow White. He tearfully begs her for forgiveness, revealing the queen that she wants her dead and urges her to flee into the woods and never look back, lost and frightened. So basically, the queen exiles Snow White. So the princess is befriended with the woodland creatures, who led into a cottage deep into the woods, finding 7 small chairs in the cottage. Snow White ends up assuming the cottage was a tidy home of orphaned children. But of course, the cottage belongs to adult 7 dwarfs named Doc, Grumpy, Happy, Sleepy, Bashful, Sneezy, and Dopey, who work by the mine. So of course, when they returned home, they found out that an intruder has invaded their home, and of course, they found out it was Snow White, who wakes up and finds the dwarfs, and of course, basically, Snow White ends up explaining, kind of just tells, the dwarfs, that she was exiled from her kingdom because the evil queen wants to get rid of her and basically wants her dead. So with that being said, the queen, this is when things started to get really deep and really disturbing, in my opinion. So basically, Snow White ends up living with the dwarves for a while, but of course this is when more and more things begin to happen. And of course, It is pretty dark. I'm going to say right now that this Disney movie has happened to be one of the darkest Disney movies I have ever seen. Of course, I say darkest because there are other Disney movies that have done dark stuff, but I think this one just takes the cake for most of the dark ones, like Tarzan and all that. Yeah, I'm looking at Tarzan. I'm looking at, a bunch of Disney movies that have done dark stuff, but I think this one was one of the darkest ones. Even though it came out in 1937, I know Disney did a lot of messed up stuff here and there when it comes to, Snow White. So, basically, meanwhile, the queen discovers that Snow White is still alive when the mirror answers that Snow White is the fairest of the land, and reveals that the heart in the jewel box was actually that from a pig. Of course, the evil queen decides to get on with, try to kill, basically the Snow White. Is basically, she gets her potion to disguise herself as an old hag, aka an old witch. And she basically creates a poison apple that whoever eats it was put into the sleeping death curse, and learns that it can only be broken by love's first kiss. But it's certain that Snow White will be buried alive, where the queen goes to the cottage while the dwarfs are away and the animals are worried about, and they rushed off to find the dwarfs. Faking the potential heart attack, the queen tricks Snow White into bringing her into the cottage to rest. So the queen fools Snow White into biting the poison apple under the magic spell of the apple, which grants. So Snow White falls in a deep sleep, and the queen proclaims that now she's the fairest of the land. However, the dwarfs returned with the animals to see the queen leaves the cottage and gives the chase, of course trapping her on the cliff, so she tries to roll a boulder over them, but before she could do so, eventually lightning strikes on the cliff, and of course the queen ends up falling to her death from there. So of course the dwarfs sees that, and they found out that Snow White is seemingly dead, keep the death-like slumber by the poison. Unwilling to bury her out of sight, they instead place her in a glass coffin trimmed with a gold clearing of the forest. Together in the woodland creatures, they keep her watch over her. Of course, a year later, the prince from the beginning of the movie learns the eternal sleep and says that his kiss can awaken her. He visits the coffin, saddened by her death, and then he kisses her, which breaks the spell and wakes her. So the dwarfs and the animals all rejoice as the prince takes Snow White to the castle, and they basically get married and live happily ever after. Well, what a great movie the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs would for Disney. Like, I'm really glad Disney really adapted this movie. Like, it's a very well done made movie. Now, of course, the first version gave the High German translation, and of course, the story has been done in different ways. Now, I'm gonna talk about what differences that I can definitely say. Now, this one is quite different compared to the Disney movie of the Snow White we got today. So, the beginning of the story has the queen sitting on an open window during a snowfall when she pricks her finger with a needle, causing drops of red to drip on the fallen white brick on the snow on the windowsill. So she says to herself that she wished she had a daughter that had skin as snow. So, of course, the queen gives birth to a baby girl who names Snow White. But, of course, sadly, the queen dies in a short later after childbirth. So, a year later, Queen Snow White's father, the king, marries again, but this time his wife is very beautiful and vain, but she is vain and wicked woman who practices witchcraft. Very disturbing, eh? I'm surprised that didn't make it into the Disney movie. The new queen possesses a magic mirror, which asks every morning, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" So, of course, the mirror always tells that she is the fairest, but, of course, the queen was always pleased by that. But of course the magic mirror lies, but Snow White was around 7 years old. The fairness had surprised the stepmother's fairness in the process. For example, when the queen asks the mirror her a question, the mirror tells her that Snow White is the fairest. So the queen gets a great shock and becomes very jealous of that. So of course her heart turns against Snow White, who the queen grows to hate increasingly over time. Eventually, the angry queen orders a huntsman to take Snow White into the forest to be killed as proof that Snow White is dead, and of course, the queen demands her heart, which she will consume in order to be immortal. But of course, the huntsman takes Snow White in the forest, but after raising his dagger, he finds himself unable to kill when Snow White almost immediately finds out her stepmother's plan. Tearfully begging, "Spare me the mockery of the justice. I will run away into the forest and never come again." Of course, that's what happens. So, basically, the huntsman grabs like a heart from a wild animal instead of Snow White's. So after wandering through the forest for hours, Snow White discovers the cottage and then finds the group of 7 dwarfs, and since no one is at home, she eats their tiny meals, drinks some of their wine. Yeah, really different. I'm surprised wine didn't make it into the Disney movie. Then she tests all the beds and finally finds the last bed to be comfortable enough for her. And of course, when she falls asleep, the dwarfs return home and thought maybe and said the burglar had came into the house. But of course, they found out that it was Snow White, who explains to her about her stepmother's assassination attempt. So the queens take a pity and let her stay with them in exchange for a job as a housemaid. They warned her to be careful when alone and to make sure no one lets in while they're working in the mountains. 10 years went by, and of course Snow White grows into a beautiful young maiden. Meanwhile, the queen, who had already got rid of Snow White after a decade, asks the mirror once again, "Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And of course the mirror said that Snow White is still the fairest, and of course she's hiding with the dwarfs. So the queen becomes furious and learns that Snow White had used her wits to fake her death by tricking the huntsman, and decides to kill the girl herself at 3 attempts. So the first thing she tries to do is she tries to goes to the dwarf's cottage and disguises an old peddler and offers Snow White a colorful silky lace bodkies or something, or like kind of like a cross corset or something. I don't know, but most of you guys probably have already known that. But of course, as a present. But of course, the queen laces her up so tightly that Snow White collapses, and the dwarfs just in time returns. And of course, Snow White's revived when the dwarfs loosen the laces. Next, the queen dresses up as a comb seller and convinces Snow White to take a beautiful comb as a present. She brushes Snow White's hair with a poisoned comb, and of course the girl gets knocked out with poison from the comb. But then she is yet again revived by the dwarfs when they remove the comb from her hair. Finally, the queen disguises herself as a farmer's wife and offers Snow White a poisoned apple. Yeah, I'm surprised none of that didn't make it into the Disney movie, but I can understand they would have got a lot of backlash if they did that. So of course, Snow White is hesitant to accept, so the queen cuts off an apple in half, eating the white harmless half and giving the red poisoned half to Snow White. So of course Snow White takes it, but of course she eventually ends up choking into a piece of apple, and of course, assuming that the queen has finally got rid of her in a decade, placed a glass casket in a funeral for her. So a few days later, the prince stumbles upon the dead Snow White laying on the coffin during a hunting trip. So after her hearing her story from the dwarfs, the prince is allowed to take Snow White to a proper resting place back at their father's castle. All of a sudden, while Snow White was being transported, one of the prince's servants tips and loses his balance and lodges the piece of the poisoned apple, both from Snow White's mouth, magically reviving her. So the prince becomes overjoyed to his miracle and declares his love and alive and well for Snow White. So, of course, he humbly accepts his marriage proposal, and soon the prince invites everyone to their wedding, including Snow White's stepmother. Now, here's something that is going to be messed up right here, guys, and I really do want to apologize. The queen, finally happy to be rid of Snow White after 10 years, asks the mirror who is the fairest in the land, and of course the mirror says that the bride of the prince, who is more fairer with her, unaware that the bride is the stepdaughter herself, the queen decides to visit the wedding to investigate. However, she arrives and then becomes frozen in rage and fear when she finds out that the prince's bride is her stepdaughter, Snow White herself. She finally gets fed up, and the queen tries to assassinate her again, but the prince recognizes her the threat and accords to Snow White after he learns the truth from the bride. As punishment, she was attempted Snow White. The prince orders the queen to wear a pair of hot iron slippers and dances them until she drops dead. With the queen finally defeated and dead, Snow White's wedding, along with the prince, can happily be peaceful and continue. Yeah, really different compared to the Disney movie. I can definitely say that it's really different compared to the Disney movie. Like, I'm surprised that none of this got into the Disney film. And the fact that, the stepmother or the queen, evil queen, is like, having to, wear at least a red hot iron slippers. Oh my goodness. Very disturbing. I'm just going to say right now that it's really disturbing thing just to say it right now. So, yeah, just thought I would, let you guys all know about that. But I'm just going to say right now, with all due sincerity, it's really messed up in a matter of ways. And I can definitely say, that Snow White, the original story, was messed up. But I think the Disney one I liked it much better because it's not as messed up as the Disney movie was. Now, yeah, that's basically about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I want to say right now, thank you so much for the birthday wishes you guys have given me yesterday. I really highly appreciated you did that. I really thank you so much for that. And I want to say right now, if you guys are new to my channel, be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button down below, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know whatever episodes of Shadows and Pretties you would like to see in the near future. I'll be seeing you all in the next video, and I highly recommend, and I hope you guys all enjoy it. I really do appreciate it, all the birthday wishes and that. So I will be, let you guys know when my next video is, which is going to be today. So I will be seeing you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching yet again. And like always, I'm going to be heading out now. So peace out, and I'll watch you all later. Bye-bye.